There are rules of money that everyone knows. Spend less than you earn, save for the future, avoid debt, invest early. These rules are in every book, every article, every financial advice column. They're repeated so often they've become cliches. And they're correct. They work. If you follow them, you'll be better off than most people. But there are other rules, rules that nobody teaches, rules that aren't written in books or discussed in classrooms. The unwritten rules, the invisible code, the things wealthy people understand instinctively that everyone else never learns. I've spent 70 years around money, making it, investing it, watching others make it and lose it. And I've noticed that the wealthy operate by a different set of rules than everyone else. It's not that they're smarter, it's that they know something others don't. They see the game differently. They play by rules that most people don't even know exist. Today I'm going to share these rules with you. Some will seem counterintuitive. Some will contradict what you've been told. Some will make you uncomfortable because they challenge beliefs you've held your entire life. That's the point. If these rules were obvious, everyone would follow them. Everyone would be wealthy. They're not obvious. That's why most people struggle with money their entire lives. Pay attention. These rules won't be taught anywhere else. They won't be handed to you. They won't be repeated until they become cliches. You're hearing them once. What you do with them is up to you. The first rule that nobody teaches: money is a tool, not a goal. This sounds simple, it's not. Most people say they want money. Ask them why and they stumble. They want more money because money is good, because more is better than less, because that's what you're supposed to want. This is backwards. This makes money the goal itself. And when money becomes the goal, something strange happens. You never have enough. I've known people worth $10 million who feel poor because someone has 20 million. I've known people worth 100 million who feel poor because someone has a billion. I've known billionaires who feel poor because someone else is higher on the Forbes list. The goal keeps moving. The number keeps increasing. The satisfaction never arrives. This is the trap of making money the goal. There's no finish line. There's no enough. There's only more, always more, forever more. The wealthy understand something different. Money is a tool, like a hammer or a car. A tool is valuable for what it does, not for what it is. What does money do? Money buys freedom, the ability to say no to things you don't want to do, the ability to walk away from bad situations, the ability to make choices based on preference, not desperation. Money buys time, the ability to hire help, the ability to pay for convenience, the ability to focus your hours on what matters most. Money buys options, the ability to take opportunities when they appear, the ability to weather setbacks, the ability to help others without hurting yourself. Money buys security, the ability to handle emergencies, the ability to sleep without financial anxiety, the ability to age without fear, freedom, time, options, security. These are what money buys. These are the real goals. Money is just the tool that gets you there. When you understand this, the game changes. You don't need infinite money. You need enough money to buy the freedom, time, options, and security you want. That's a finite number. It can be achieved. It can be enough. I have more money than I could ever spend. But I don't wake up thinking about accumulating more. I wake up thinking about the freedom to do work I love, the time to spend with people I care about, the options to pursue opportunities that interest me, the security to never worry about the future. The money is just the tool. The life is the goal. Most people reverse this. They sacrifice the life to accumulate the tool. They trade freedom for a larger number. They trade time for a bigger balance. They're collecting hammers instead of building houses. The second unwritten rule: your network determines your net worth more than your skills or effort. This makes people uncomfortable. We like to believe that success comes from hard work and talent, that the best person wins, that merit is rewarded. Sometimes it is. Often it isn't. The truth is that most opportunities come through people. Jobs come through connections. Deals come through relationships. Information comes through networks. The most talented person in a room full of strangers will often lose to a less talented person with the right connections. This isn't fair. It's also not optional. It's how the world works. I got my start because I knew Benjamin Graham. I learned from him. I worked for him. His endorsement opened doors that my abilities alone never could have opened. My partnership with Charlie Munger has made me wealthier than I would ever have been alone. Not just financially, intellectually, strategically. Charlie made me a better investor than I could have been by myself. Every major success in my life involved other people. People who taught me, people who partnered with me, people who gave me opportunities, people who trusted me before I had proven myself. This is true for almost everyone successful. Behind every self-made story is a network of people who helped along the way. The rule is simple: invest in relationships as seriously as you invest in money. Meet people, not to exploit them, to genuinely connect, to learn, to help, to be useful. Maintain relationships. Stay in touch. Remember details. Follow up. Be the person who others want to hear from. Add value to others. Help without expecting immediate return. Share information. Make introductions. Be useful to your network before you need your network to be useful to you. Choose your network carefully. Surround yourself with people who are where you want to be, who know things you don't know, who will pull you up rather than drag you down. One relationship with the right person can change your trajectory forever. One introduction can lead to a partnership worth millions. One conversation can teach you something that transforms your thinking. Most people network wrong. They collect business cards. They connect on LinkedIn. They attend events and talk about themselves. This doesn't work. Nobody cares about your business card or your LinkedIn profile or your story. People care about what you can do for them. Start there. Be valuable to others. Build genuine relationships. The network will follow. And when it does, it will be worth more than any amount of money in the bank. The third rule nobody teaches: real wealth is invisible. The person driving the expensive car might be rich. They might also be an average earner with an expensive car payment. The person wearing the designer clothes might be wealthy. They might also be broke and trying to look otherwise. The person living in the big house might have millions. They might also be drowning in mortgage debt. You can't tell who's rich by looking at them. The visible signs of wealth often indicate the opposite. This is counterintuitive. Society teaches us that success looks like luxury: nice things, expensive brands, impressive possessions. The truly wealthy know different. Spending money on appearances means not investing it. Every dollar spent looking rich is a dollar that isn't working for you. I drive a modest car. I live in the same house I bought in 1958. I don't wear expensive watches or designer clothes. I look like a middle-class retiree, not one of the richest people in the world. This isn't an accident. It's not eccentricity. It's understanding the rule. Real wealth doesn't need to be displayed. Real wealth is secure enough that it doesn't require external validation. Real wealth cares about actual net worth, not the appearance of net worth. The people who look richest are often the most financially fragile. They've spent everything to maintain an image. They're one setback away from disaster. The people who look ordinary are often the wealthiest. They've kept their lifestyle modest while their investments grew. They're secure regardless of what happens. There's another dimension to this. Looking rich attracts problems. It attracts people who want your money. It attracts attention you don't need. It attracts envy and resentment. Looking ordinary keeps you safe. Nobody targets the person in the 10-year-old Toyota. Nobody resents the person in the modest house. Nobody expects favors from someone who looks like everyone else. This rule is hard to follow. The social pressure to display success is enormous. Your friends upgrade. Your colleagues show off. Society measures people by visible markers. Resist it. Invest the money instead of spending it on appearances. Let your net worth be your secret while everyone else broadcasts their spending. The goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to be rich. These are often opposite strategies. The fourth unwritten rule: every purchase falls into one of two categories. Assets or things. Things take money from you. You buy them, they cost money, and that's it. The money is gone. Assets bring money to you. You buy them, they generate income, and over time they return more than you paid. This distinction is everything. The wealthy buy assets. Everyone else buys things. Examples of things: a new car, designer clothes, the latest phone, furniture, entertainment systems, gadgets. Examples of assets: stocks, real estate that generates rent, businesses, bonds, anything that produces income. Some purchases are borderline. A house you live in is kind of an asset. It might appreciate, but it doesn't generate income and cost money to maintain. A car for business use generates income indirectly. Education increases earning power, but the principle is clear. Before every purchase, ask, will this take money from me or bring money to me? Most people never ask this question. They think about what they want. They think about what they can afford. They think about immediate utility or pleasure. They don't think about direction. Is the money flowing away from me forever, or is it flowing into something that will send money back? The wealthy are obsessed with this question. Every dollar is a soldier. They want their soldiers working for them, not dying in one-time purchases. When I have $1,000, I don't think, what can I buy? I think, where can I deploy this to generate more? That $1,000 invested at 10% becomes $2,600 in 10 years, $6,700 in 20 years, $17,400 in 30 years. That's the real cost of buying a thing, not $1,000, $17,000 of future wealth that will never exist. Everything you buy has two prices: the sticker price and the opportunity cost, the money you paid and the money you'll never have. Rich people see both prices. Everyone else sees only one. There's a deeper point here. Assets create a cycle. They generate income. That income buys more assets. Those assets generate more income. Things create the opposite cycle. They cost money. That money is gone. You need to earn more to buy more things, which are gone, and you need to earn more again. One cycle leads to wealth. One cycle leads to a treadmill. Choose the cycle you want to be on, then make every purchase accordingly. The fifth rule nobody teaches: time and money are the same resource in different forms. You can spend money to save time. You can spend time to save money. The wisdom is knowing which trade to make. Most people think about this wrong. They think money is scarce and time is abundant, so they spend time to save money. They drive across town to save $10 on a purchase. They spend hours clipping coupons. They do everything themselves instead of hiring help. These trades make sense when you have no money. When you're broke, your time is the only resource you have. But as your income rises, the calculation changes. At some point, your time becomes worth more than the money you're saving. If you earn $50 an hour and spend 2 hours to save $20, you've lost money. You traded $100 worth of time for $20 of savings. The wealthy understand this intuitively. They pay for time constantly. They hire help. They pay for convenience. They outsource anything that isn't the highest value use of their hours. This feels wasteful to people who grew up without money. It feels like luxury, like laziness, like wasting money on things you could do yourself. It's not, it's math. If your time is worth more than the cost of the service, buying the service makes you wealthier, not poorer. But there's a flip side. Some people spend money to save time on things that don't matter, while wasting time on things they should pay to eliminate. They buy expensive prepared meals but spend hours on social media. They hire a cleaner but waste weekends watching television. They're not actually reclaiming time for high-value activities. They're just spending money. The rule requires intentionality. Know what your time is worth. Know what you're trading it for. Make conscious exchanges that actually improve your situation. And remember, time is the more scarce resource. You can always make more money. You can never make more time. Eventually, the wealthy realize that no amount of money can buy more years. At that point, time becomes infinitely valuable, and spending money to preserve and protect it becomes the highest value trade. I'm 93. I'd give most of my fortune for more time, but that trade isn't available. The only trade available was making it earlier in life, protecting health, reducing stress, avoiding time-wasting activities. Time and money are interchangeable, but only while you have time left to trade. The sixth unwritten rule: good opportunities are the enemy of great opportunities. This seems wrong. Good opportunities are good. Why would you reject them? Because your capacity is limited. Your time is limited. Your attention is limited. Your resources are limited. Every yes to a good opportunity is a no to something else. And that something else might be great. Most people say yes to everything that seems reasonable. Every decent job offer, every promising project, every interesting opportunity. They fill their lives with good things, and then great things come along. And there's no room, no time, no capacity. The great opportunity has to be rejected because good opportunities already filled the space. The wealthy are ruthless about this. They say no to most things, even good things, especially good things, because good things are tempting. Bad things are easy to reject. Nobody struggles to say no to obvious garbage. The struggle is saying no to things that are actually appealing but not exceptional. When I evaluate investments, most of them are good. Reasonable businesses at reasonable prices with reasonable prospects. I say no to almost all of them. I'm waiting for great, exceptional businesses at attractive prices with outstanding prospects. These are rare, but I need to have capacity when they appear. If I filled my portfolio with good investments, I'd have no room for great ones. The good would have crowded out the exceptional. The same applies to life. Good jobs crowd out great careers. Good relationships crowd out exceptional ones. Good projects crowd out transformative ones. This requires patience. Sometimes you're saying no to everything for a long time. Waiting, keeping capacity available. It feels unproductive. It feels like you're missing out. Everyone else is busy with their good opportunities, and you're sitting with empty hands. But when great arrives, you're ready. You have the time, the resources, the attention to seize it fully. And one great opportunity captured fully is worth 100 good opportunities spread thin. The phrase I use is waiting for the fat pitch. In baseball, you don't have to swing at every ball. You can wait for the perfect one right in your sweet spot. Most people swing at everything. They're terrified of missing. They'd rather hit a single than wait for the home run pitch. The wealthy wait. They let good pitches go by. They look lazy or picky or arrogant. But when the fat pitch comes, they swing with everything they have. Learn to say no to good. It's the only way to say yes to great. The seventh rule nobody teaches. Risk is widely misunderstood. Most people think risk is volatility, fluctuation, uncertainty in the short term. They're wrong. That's not risk. That's noise. Real risk is the permanent loss of capital. Real risk is not achieving your financial goals. Real risk is running out of money before you run out of life. These definitions change everything. By the conventional definition, stocks are risky because they go up and down. Bonds are safe because they're stable. Cash is safest because it doesn't fluctuate at all. By the real definition, stocks over long periods are actually safer because they've always grown wealth over time. Bonds are moderate because they preserve capital but barely beat inflation. Cash is the riskiest because it guarantees losing purchasing power to inflation every single year. The safe choice of keeping money in cash is actually the riskiest choice for long-term wealth. You're guaranteed to have less purchasing power in 30 years. That's not safety. That's certain loss. People make this mistake constantly. They keep huge amounts in cash because it feels safe. They avoid stocks because they feel dangerous. They optimize for short-term stability while destroying long-term wealth. The truly wealthy think differently. They ask, what is the probability of permanent capital loss? What is the probability of not reaching my goals? By those standards, different choices look better. Owning a diversified portfolio of excellent businesses has almost zero probability of permanent loss over long periods. Yes, it fluctuates. Yes, there are scary years. But permanent loss of capital? Almost impossible if you don't sell during downturns. Keeping money in cash has 100% probability of losing purchasing power over long periods. Not fluctuation, certainty you will have less. Which is riskier? There's another dimension. Sometimes the biggest risk is not taking any risk. If you need 8% returns to retire comfortably and you invest in things that return 2% because they feel safe, you've guaranteed failure. Your safe choice made failure certain. Sometimes you have to take risks to avoid the bigger risk of not reaching your goals. The wealthy understand this. They take calculated risks. They accept volatility in exchange for returns. They're comfortable with short-term uncertainty because they understand long-term probability. Everyone else avoids anything that feels risky. They optimize for comfort. They choose certainty of small returns over probability of large returns. And they end up with certain failure to reach their goals. Risk is not what it feels like. Risk is what it actually is. Learn to tell the difference. The person who feels safest is often taking the biggest risks. The person who feels uncomfortable is often making the wisest choice. Don't manage feelings. Manage actual probabilities of actual outcomes. The eighth unwritten rule: money doesn't change people. Money reveals people. There's a common belief that wealth corrupts, that good people become bad when they get rich, that money transforms character. This is wrong. Money doesn't transform anything. Money amplifies what was already there. The generous person becomes more generous. Now they have resources to give. Their generosity, previously limited by means, can express itself fully. The greedy person becomes more greedy. Now they have something to hoard. Their greed, previously limited by lack, can consume them completely. The kind person becomes kinder. The cruel person becomes crueler. The secure person becomes more secure. The insecure person becomes more desperate to prove themselves. Money is an amplifier, like a microphone. It doesn't create the voice. It makes the existing voice louder. This is why some wealthy people are wonderful and some are terrible. The wealth didn't make them that way. They were already that way. The wealth just gave them more power to express it. I've seen this repeatedly. People who were slightly dishonest became massively fraudulent when they had resources. People who were somewhat generous became philanthropic giants when they had means. The character was always there. The money just revealed it at full volume. This has implications for how you think about your own wealth journey. If you have character flaws now, wealth will make them worse. If you're slightly materialistic now, you'll be obsessively materialistic with money. If you're slightly status conscious now, you'll be consumed by status with money. Fix the character now, before the money. Because after the money, the flaws will be amplified beyond control. And if you have virtues now, wealth will make them stronger. If you're generous now, you'll be magnificently generous with money. If you're humble now, you'll be genuinely humble despite wealth. Cultivate the virtues now, before the money, because after the money, they'll become your defining characteristics. The question isn't what will money do to you? The question is, who are you and how will that be amplified? This also applies to evaluating others. Watch how people behave with small amounts of money. That's exactly how they'll behave with large amounts, just magnified. The person who cheats on small things will cheat on large things. The person who's generous with little will be generous with much. The person who's obsessed with small status markers will be consumed by large ones. Money is a character test. Most people don't pass, not because money corrupted them, because they were never who they pretended to be. The game never ends. You stop trying to win and start trying to keep playing. The goal shifts, not accumulation, continuation, not winning, not losing. This is what I call the infinite game of wealth. In a finite game, the objective is to win, to beat opponents, to reach the end with the most points. In an infinite game, the objective is to keep playing, to stay in the game as long as possible, to never be forced out. Wealth is an infinite game. The person who makes 100 million and loses it all has lost. The person who makes 10 million and keeps it forever has won. Not because 10 is better than 100, because they're still playing. Most people play wealth as a finite game. They take huge risks to win big. They swing for the fences. They go all in. Sometimes they win big. More often, they lose everything. Either way, they eventually leave the game. They're out. The wealthy play the infinite game. They take calculated risks. They preserve capital above all. They're willing to grow slower if it means never being forced out. This is why I've always focused on not losing money. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. People think this is about greed. It's not. It's about staying in the game. If you lose 50%, you need 100% gain just to get back to even. If you lose 90%, you need a 900% gain. The math of recovery is brutal. Every major loss is a potential exit from the game. Every catastrophic mistake is a potential end to your wealth journey. The wealthy avoid these exits obsessively. They diversify. They keep reserves. They refuse risks that could wipe them out, no matter how attractive the potential gain. Because no gain is worth leaving the game. There's another dimension to this, the game changing over time. When you're young, the game is accumulation, building the pile, growing wealth from nothing. When you're middle-aged, the game is optimization, making the pile work harder, allocating efficiently. When you're older, the game is preservation, protecting the pile, not losing what took decades to build. And eventually, the game is transition, passing the pile to the next generation, leaving a legacy, making sure the game continues even after you're gone. Each stage has different rules, different strategies, different definitions of winning. The person who plays the accumulation game forever will take inappropriate risks in their 60s. The person who plays the preservation game in their 20s will miss the growth they need. Know what stage you're in. Play the appropriate game for that stage. And always remember that the overarching goal is to keep playing. The game never ends. Not until you die. And if you've played well, it doesn't even end then. It continues through your children, your grandchildren, your legacy. That's the ultimate win. Not a number, not a finish line. A game that continues forever. I've given you 9 rules. Let me tell you why nobody teaches them. Schools don't teach them because schools are designed to create employees, not wealthy people. The curriculum serves the economy's need for workers, not your need for financial freedom. Parents don't teach them because most parents don't know them. They never learned. They're struggling with money themselves. They can't teach what they don't understand. Society doesn't teach them because society benefits from your ignorance. The financial industry profits when you don't understand fees. Retailers profit when you don't understand opportunity cost. The economy profits when you keep consuming instead of investing. These rules are hidden not through conspiracy, but through neglect. Nobody's hiding them intentionally. They're just not part of any curriculum, any standard education, any normal upbringing. The wealthy learn them through osmosis. They grow up around money. They absorb these rules from parents, from environment, from observation. They don't even know they know them. They're just how things work. Everyone else has to discover them by accident, through painful experience, through mistakes that cost years and fortunes, through the slow accumulation of wisdom that comes too late for many, or through someone telling them directly, which is what I've done today. You now know rules that most people never learn, rules that took me decades to understand, rules that wealthy families pass down through generations while everyone else remains ignorant. What you do with them is up to you. Knowledge is nothing without application. You could hear these rules and nod along and go back to your life unchanged. Most people will. Or you could take one rule, just one, and start applying it today. Apply that money is a tool for buying freedom, not a goal in itself. Start defining what freedom means to you. Apply that your network determines your net worth. Start investing in relationships intentionally. Apply that real wealth is invisible. Stop spending on appearances and start building real assets. Apply that assets bring money and things take money. Start categorizing every purchase. Apply that time and money are interchangeable. Start making conscious trades between them. Apply that good is the enemy of great. Start saying no to make room for exceptional. Apply that risk is not what it feels like. Start evaluating actual probabilities instead of feelings. Apply that money amplifies character. Start fixing flaws before wealth magnifies them. Apply that the game never ends. Start playing for continuation instead of a finish line. One rule applied consistently over years will transform your financial life. All 9 rules applied together over decades will make you wealthy. The curriculum is no longer hidden. The test is whether you'll study. The rules of money are not secret. They're just not taught. Not in schools, not by parents, not anywhere in mainstream society. They're discovered through observation, through mentorship, through the slow, painful process of learning what works and what doesn't, or they're revealed by someone who's learned them through decades of practice, by someone willing to share what most people keep to themselves. Today I've revealed 9 rules. Money is a tool, not a goal. Stop chasing numbers and start buying freedom. Your network is your net worth. Invest in relationships as seriously as investments. Never look rich. Real wealth is invisible and stays that way by choice. Buy assets, not things. Every dollar should work for you, not disappear. Time and money are interchangeable. Make conscious trades between them. Say no to good to say yes to great. Keep capacity for exceptional opportunities. Risk is not what you think. Manage actual probabilities, not feelings. Money amplifies character. Fix your flaws before wealth magnifies them.